At opening statements today, prosecutors and the defense laid out the basics for jurors. Prosecutors arguing that Kyle Rittenhouse instigated the shootings and the killings because he showed up with a gun to a volatile protest. The lead prosecutor tried to drive that point home by repeatedly turning and pointing to Kyle Rittenhouse and saying he is the only one that killed anybody that day. The defense, on their part, argued that their client opened fire reluctantly, but only in self-defense after his life was threatened and after he was chased by protesters. Jurors overall seem to strain a little bit to follow the fairly complex series of facts. Many were following it very closely, very intently early on, taking copious notes, but sort of trailed off as the day went on. Jurors were clearly fatigued and finding it difficult to get through the afternoon. Rittenhouse seems remarkably calm. He is showing very little strain for someone who could be looking at the prospect of life in prison if he's found guilty on the most serious charges. He banters with his attorneys, smiles, jokes during intermissions, during recesses, and he takes copious notes himself and at times leans over to his attorneys and whispers something about what he heard. The judge is clearly a quirky and colorful character. He's been engaging the jurors, I think trying to keep jurors relaxed by asking them trivia questions during breaks and bantering with them himself. But he's going to have some tough tasks, not just determining which evidence is entered, but especially at the end, when he critically has to decide what instructions to give jurors as they assess the evidence. He's going to have to put certain emphasis on some things and de-emphasize others, and that really could make the difference between Rittenhouse being acquitted or convicted. Many legal experts who we've spoken to say that the prosecutors probably have the tougher task here, given how Wisconsin's self-defense law is written. They have to show that it was unreasonable for Rittenhouse to open fire and that his fear for his own life was also unreasonable. So they have to somehow convince jurors that Rittenhouse forfeited his right to self-defense as it's laid out in Wisconsin law. What the defense is up against is that jurors and others who are observing this trial are asking themselves, why was Kyle Rittenhouse there at all? What made him show up at a volatile protest with a gun? That's going to be on jurors' minds. The defense has to show, and has been already argued in their opening, that Rittenhouse was a good Samaritan who showed up here well-intentioned, and he was chased, he was threatened, and had no choice to shoot.